So today is February the 19th, and this is session number 6 of section 1 of the Teach Through of the Gospel of John. Today we'll be covering the end of chapter 1 and we'll be starting chapter 2. Again, this is session number 6 of section 1 of our Teach Through of the Gospel of John. So I got ahead of myself. Verse 51, what is Jesus saying to Nathanael? We just covered it. He is bringing up in verse 47 by calling Nathanael an Israelite. He's making reference to Jacob, and then says about Nathanael that he will see angels going up and down. Instead of on a ladder, he will see angels going up and down, with he himself being the connector. Okay? Contrary to Mr. Creflo Dollar, the tithe is not the covenant connector. The Christ is the covenant connector. It is Jesus who is the connection between God and man. It is Jesus who is the connection between Jew and Gentile. Right? He has made the two one, the New Testament says. Romans chapter 5 verse 1 says that he is the reason that we have peace. He has made peace on our behalf, right? Yeah. I said to a sister yesterday, she got Isaiah 54:17 in church, and she was all hyped up because Isaiah 54:17 says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And she was all hype about that. And I said, well, for me, it is the second half of the verse that means the most.
Right.
The verse says, no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise up against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the sons of God, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. And I explained to her that that, to me, is more important than whether or not a weapon is formed, whether or not the weapon prospers. God said that for his children, the righteousness of his children will come directly from him. So when we stand before him in judgment, the righteousness that he sees is the righteousness that he has imputed to us. His son's sacrifice on our behalf, it is that righteousness that is imputed to us. Hallelujah. It's what we talked about. I think we even talked about this last week, Zechariah chapter 3, right? The high priest is standing before God, and the devil is there to condemn him. And what happens? What does God say to the angels? He says, put clean robes on him. So God's righteousness is imputed to and covers the filth of the best that Israel has. It's the same process that happens with us, right? In Revelation, we see those people who are in white robes. They're in white robes standing before the throne. Right? They're in white robes before the throne because they have been made clean. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. Yes, that is wonderful. But the last part of that verse is the thing that we should really, really focus on as believers. It says, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. And if that is not the most wonderful promise in the world, I don't know what is. So, what is the job? What is your job? Your job is to point people to Jesus.
To Christ.
That's right.
Yes.
But what he?
Okay, John told his disciples, there he is. 2 disciples heard it, followed. Andrew went and got Peter, said, there he is. Philip went and got Nathanael, said, there he is. That's what you're supposed to do. Not everybody will hear. As we talked about last week, you don't have to worry about that. Your job is to make it known. Your job is to make it known. That's why he commanded his disciples to do what? Go into all the world and preach the gospel. Go every place you can, preach the gospel. Let everybody know. And I'm not talking about standing up on the subway and preaching. If God calls you to that, that's wonderful. But use the platform that you have with the people that you have to make the difference that you can. The point is, each of us has a sphere of influence. We have people in our lives that we come in contact with, people who hear us, people who we have influence with in their lives. Those are the people. Okay? Evangelism is not introducing people to your church, as I used to think it was. It is introducing people to your Lord.
Amen.
Okay? Introduce people to your Lord.